What I'm going to do today is make a wire tree, but a wire tree with a bit of a difference. I'm going to try something new with it. And my friend Jay in America, he wants to make these. So really, Jay, this video's for you. So I hope you're watching. What I'm going to start with is I've got some aluminium wire because it's nice and soft and pliable. I find that is much easier to use. And it's a thicker gauge one as well. It's not too thin. And I've got a piece of wood that's 16 inches long or 41 centimeters. And then all I'm going to do to start with is wrap my wire around here until I've got it probably at about 50 to 100 rolls of this wire around. It's really easy, not too tight, you don't want it too tight. I've wrapped around 100 times, so I've got 50 that side, 50 that side. This is where you're going to need some cable ties. They make life so much easier. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this off of here because it'll be easier than trying to pull it off. All I'm going to do is go through and trim these wires off. And once you've cut through all those, just keep them together, and this is where you can take your other end off and then just take your bit of wood out. And then what you want to do is trim this end up here, cross your join there, straighten them out, clump all these together, and then either straighten your ends up this end, or like I'm going to do, I'm just going to trim them up because I think it's quicker. And we want to get them all so they're fairly even on the bottom. They don't necessarily need to be straight at this point. Now this is going to be a fairly thinnish tree at the moment, but it won't be when I'm finished because that's why I've got something special to do. But if you wanted a thicker tree, then just add another 50 or 100 wires. Now I need to decide how much of my root I want, and I'm going to have about that much possibly for my roots. And this is where you want your cable tie. This cable tie is only temporary, so pull that nice and tight. There we go. So you've got one bundle there. And then the trunk, I want it to be about there. So I'm going to put another cable tie on there. And this is where the magic happens. So this is where you're going to start to really give that a twist. So that's going to be your trunk, and that locks all your wires in together. Now if you can't twist it hard enough, then use something, put it in a vise or something. So that's going to be my main trunk. I'm going to work on the roots first. They're going to be slightly shorter than the branches, so I'm going to work on those and I can get them done out the way. And I want about 6 main roots coming off that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I can now take that cable tie off and I can split this into roughly 6. That has given me 6 full roots now, and I'm going to twist these individually only a little bit like that. And it doesn't matter which way you twist them. Because it's aluminium wire, it's actually really soft to twist, which makes a big difference. You use steel wire and you are going to struggle. And you only want to twist a little bit to start with, like that sort of length, a couple of centimeters, maybe 3/4 of an inch. You can always unwind it a bit if you twisted too far. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to bring those roots up now. Twisted that too far there, so I'm going to untwist that. And what I'm going to do now is go around to each of these roots and break them into either 2s or 3s. So that one I'm going to break into a 2, and then each one of these I'm then going to break into 2, evenish as possible, doesn't have to be, and then twist those. And now we've got these little bits here. I'm going to take some like this, got those twisted a lot, and then give those a bit of a twist to make an even smaller part of the root. So then we've got one whole stem there of the root, and that's completely finished. We've finished twisting, but what we will do is we will probably trim this up once we've got the other roots all done. And I'll just go around and do exactly the same. So again, split it in half or 3, and then twist it a little bit, split it again in 2 or 3, twist it a little bit until all my roots are actually finished. So the roots have all been twisted now, and all I'm going to do is go around, and where there's any single strands, then I'm taking those off because I don't want them on there. You can leave them on and they just look like really thin roots, but I don't want them on for what I'm going to do today. And that just tidies them up nicely. So that's now with the roots all finished, and we can shape those up as we're going to finish it off. Now I want to put a bit of a bend in this tree, so I'm going to put a bit of a bend in it here and then coming up there. So that's going to be its final kind of shape to the actual trunk of the tree. I want to tighten this up a little bit, and I've got it as tight as I can do it by hand, so I'm going to pop some pliers on that, give that another twist, and that'll lock that all in a bit like that. So now I need to separate some branches off here. And obviously this is the main part of the tree where all the branches are, and so I need some fairly thick branches coming out of one side. So I've given the one in the centre that twist, and that's all nicely twisted. I haven't gone up too high, and now these ones I need to do exactly the same here as I did with the roots. So I'm going to give them a quick twist. I'm going to pull a couple out and carry on twisting that one. Split it again, carry on twisting them, and split that after I twisted them a bit, and then twist the splits as well. And then I can go back to this one here in exactly the same way as I did the roots. Again, twisting that like that, splitting them in half, twist those a little bit, and then split them again, and then work around all these branches, leaving these ones here standing upright. So then I'll keep going through, twisting, splitting, twisting, splitting, twisting, splitting. So I've done the lower branches, and now what I've done is I've split this one into 3. And then I'm going to carry on doing the same with that. Although what I am going to do is still have a very thin one sticking up for next time. And then I'll do another round. So I've got a little thin one there, and then these ones will all come off here, and I will carry on splitting them up in the same way as I've done the roots and these branches. But there we go, I've got it all ready now, and what I'm going to do, and I haven't tried this before, but I thought I'd give it a go, is I've got some of my paper clay mixed up here, and as you know, I mix up quite a lot of it, and then I keep it wrapped up in this pot. I made this about 2 months ago, and now what I'm going to do is cover all this wire in this paper clay and try and sculpt a tree out of it. I'm not going to do the branches first. What I'm going to do is the trunk from here down, and then the roots. Let that dry off a little bit, and then it will be a lot easier for me to do the actual tree itself. And to get this to stick easier to the actual tree, I'm going to paint on some PVA glue onto the wires where I'm going to put the clay. And then that should help it to stick on there. And then get my paper clay and then push that round. And I'm going to leave it really quite coarse as well, because I think that way the texture is going to look more realistic on the tree. Then once this is dry, I can probably carve it about a little bit if I need to, or make it look a little bit more bark-like. Although it is looking quite bark-like now, I think. Look. And then I'm going to work my way around the roots in the same way as I have that trunk. Well, the first lot of roots are dry now, and that means I've got something easy to hold on to, and I'm not going to mess them up. What I found was the paper clay was much more difficult to stick to the wire. I think it's because it's so smooth. So what I did was I went around the whole of the wire like this and just put some thin tape all the way over it, and then it's stuck really easily. It was time consuming, I'm not going to lie, and it did take a bit of time to put on, but once I put this on, it did seem to speed it up, and I could get it on in a lot thinner pieces. I quite like the way the roots have set up, and now once I've done the rest of it in exactly the same way, I can then start to paint. The other thing is I can thicken some of these branches by putting this tape on and give it more thickness in some areas, which I think will look great. Well, I've finished my tree now, and I have to say I'm really pleased with it, but my goodness me, it was a labour of love. I did enjoy it. I watched some videos. I also listened to some music while I was making it. I put quite a lot of gnarly details on it, and I think you'll agree it has come out really well. Much better than I thought it would do. It's almost like a horror-y, gothic-y type of tree, and I have got a project planned for it that's going to be quite a large project, and the project is going to be built all around the tree, really. So watch out for that one. If you've enjoyed this project, boot the like button, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to leave me a comment. Jay, hope you've enjoyed this tree as much as I've enjoyed making it. Take care, enjoy your crafting, bye.